According to the National Institute of Mental Health, 1 in 4 adults, approximately 57.7 million Americans, experience a mental health disorder in a given year. 1 in 17 of those people live with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, major depression, or bipolar disorder. Mental illness is something that we tend to sweep under the rug and act like it doesn't exist. Ignoring mental illness only makes things worse. Those who suffer from mental illness have a lot to deal with, and it can prevent them from seeking help. What can we do to help? Now, let's take a look at what happens when mental illness is ignored. Since Columbine in 1999, there have been 64 mass murders in this country. Tragedies like the Colorado movie shooting, Congresswoman Gifford being shot, and the Sandy Hook shooting. Mental illness played a significant role in each of these unfortunate events. Nobody noticed until it was too late. Symptoms like becoming withdrawn, becoming suspicious of others, saying things that make no sense, becoming angry, or having mood swings out of the blue are things that point towards mental illness. We notice these things, and subconsciously we understand that the person is ill, but choose to avoid them and not to help them. It will continue to get worse until something happens. Ignoring mental illness may not only lead to tragic events, but it also leaves the sufferer of mental illness feeling lost and alone. Someone who is suffering from a mental illness has to deal with stigma, often being called crazy, violent, being told they have violent tendencies. That mental illness is said to be a character flaw, something that is easily fixed. And in America, we have inadequate or no medical treatment for someone who suffers from mental illness. Having mental illness and dealing with the symptoms of mental illness can prevent employment, permanent residence, and creating supportive relationships with others. Dealing with the stigmas and the problems the symptoms cause can make it difficult for a sufferer to seek help. Now that you know what happens when mental illness is ignored and what those that suffer from mental illness deal with, what can we do to help? We can volunteer. Here in America, we have Mental Illness Awareness Week. That is something they always take volunteers for. You can donate money, just support the campaign, go out, help somebody, volunteer your time if you don't have the money. Also, just doing something as simple as using your knowledge to fight the stigmas. You hear somebody call somebody with mental illness crazy or that they're violent because of that. Just take the time to correct them and let them know that just because someone suffers from a mental illness doesn't mean that they're crazy or that they're violent or that they shouldn't be part of a group. Spreading awareness, fighting for better treatments, and putting an end to the stigmas associated with mental illness is the key. Now you know why ignoring mental illness is bad and what someone who suffers from mental illness has to deal with. I've also equipped you with a few things you can do to help spread the awareness. Do not ignore mental illness. Do not just sweep it under the rug. It is not just a character flaw that can be easily fixed. Even though 1 in 17 live with a serious mental illness, does not mean we should ostracize them. Instead, use your newfound knowledge to help. In the end, knowledge dispels fear. So become part of the solution. Do not continue to be part of the problem.
4 minutes on the dot.